Hello, good morning dear students. Today we are moving further with the next chapter of English, and the name of the chapter is The Snake and the Mirror. And this is the part 1 of the chapter. We will just have a small introductory about the chapter. So what actually the chapter is, once the author, he just went and he just encountered a snake into his house. When he was just entering into his house, he just encountered a snake, and he had just observed that what are the problems that he faced when the snake was inside his house, and how did he came out of that situation. So it is about the story of a snake and a mirror, and snake and the mirror are the two important words in the chapter. And this chapter is written by Vikram Muhammad Bashir. It was translated from Malayalam by Abdullah. It was a hot summer night, about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my home. I heard a noise from the above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. One should say that the rats and I shared the room. I took off my box of matches and lighted a kerosene lamp on the table. So, actually the situation, it was of summer season, and as the summer season was going on, it was a time of night at around 10 o'clock when the author had just returned to his home after having a meal from the restaurant. He just returned to his room, and he heard a noise when he opened the door. Noise from above, means from the top of the house. He just heard some noise when he just opened the door at 10 o'clock. The sound was a quite familiar one, and obviously one would say to him that the author and the rats will share the rooms as well, because there are n number of rats which were running in the house. So he can say that he and author and the rats can share the room. I took off my box and matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. So he just took out the box from his bag and just switched on the kerosene lamp from the table. The house was not electrified. It was a small rented room. I had just to set up a medical practice, and my earnings were much. I had about 60 rupees in a suitcase, and along with some shirts and dhotis I possessed one solitary black coat which I was wearing. So as he was living in a rented house, his house was not totally electrified, means proper electricity services was not available in the house, and it was a small rented room, and he had just to set up a medical practice. So he was just trying, as he had completed his MBBS, he was just trying to set up his medical practice, and as he was trying to set up for the medical practices, the earnings were very low. So he was just earning little amount of money, and there were only 60 rupees in his suitcase. And along with that, he was also having a pair of shirts, means 2 shirts and 1 dhoti that he used to wear, and only a one solitary single black color ka jo coat. He was also having one black color coat, and he was just wearing that coat every day. I took off my black coat, white shirt, and not so white vest and hung them up. I opened the 2 windows in the room. It was an outer room with a wall fencing, the open yard. It had a titled roof with long supporting gables that rested on the beam over all the wall. There was no ceiling. There was a regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I could not sleep. I got up and went out on the veranda for a little air, but the wind god seemed to have taken time off. So he was only having one single black coat, white shirt, and it was also not pure white, because अकेला इंसान रहता था घर में. How is it possible for him to manage all the things? How he will earn to spend money for washing the clothes, to give it for laundry? This type of things, it was not adjusted for the author, so he was not having pure white shirt with him even. And as he just removed the shirt dhoti, and he wore his night dress, and he was just trying to sleep for the night, but he just hung his clothes into the door and opened the window, so that as electricity services was not available in the house, he just opened the window so that fresh air will come into his house. It was an outer room with wall facing. It was a room which was having a walls, and the wall was also having the windows which was facing the veranda outside, so that from that veranda pure air will come. But he just rested on the wall, but there was no ceiling. गुजराती में हमको जिस लोग जिसको हम लोग नलिया बोलते हैं ना, ब्राउन कलर के होते हैं, दैट टाइप ऑफ हाउस ही वॉज हैविंग एंड रेगुलर राइट्स वर यूज टू कम फ्रॉम द टॉप ऑफ द हाउस. So and as the electricity was not available into his house, what did he do? He just took his bed, pulled his bed near the wall. I lay down. He just laid down on the bed, but he could not sleep. So he just went out on the veranda to get some little air. But it seemed that the god has taken off because no wind was entering into the house. I went back into the room and sat down on the chair, opened the box beneath the table and took out a book of a materia medica. I opened it at the table which stood a lamp, a large mirror and a comb lay beside the mirror. So as he was not able to sleep for the whole night, he just went into the house. उसके घर में जो चेयर थी वहाँ पे चेयर के ऊपर वो बैठ जाते हैं और जस्ट ओपन द बॉक्स और बॉक्स में से उसने मटीरिया मेडिका नाम की जो बुक थी उसकी वो बुक उसने निकाली एंड ओपन द बुक ऑन द टेबल विच स्टूड द लैम्प. उसके बाजू में ही लैम्प था, सो दैट विद द हेल्प ऑफ दैट लैम्प ही कैन रीड समथिंग. और उसके सामने देयर वाज अ कॉम्ब एंड अ लार्ज मिरर. One feels tempted to look into the mirror when it's near one. It took a look. And those days I was a great admirer of beauty and I believed that making myself look handsome. I was unmarried and I was a doctor. I felt that I had made my presence felt. I picked up the comb and ran it through my hair and adjusted the parting so that it looked straight and neat. Again I heard the sound from the above. So he just tempted to look into the mirror. But हम लोगों के साथ भी कभी कभी ऐसा हो जाता है कि हम लोग कभी इट इज़ टोटली डार्क और अगर हम लोग मिरर के सामने या कुछ ऐसी चीज़ के सामने देखते हैं तो हम लोग भी कभी डर जाता है. द सेम थिंग हैपेंड विद द ऑथर बट ही वॉज टोटली बिलीविंग इन द I should say he was just able to believe something in beauty and all. So he just thought that as he was unmarried and he was a doctor, so he felt that he should also look some handsome. So as it is shown in the figure, he is just trying to adjust his face and trying to comb the hair. But again that previous sound came from the top of the house, the sound when he just entered into the room. At that time the sound which he heard, the same sound was heard right now. I took a close look at my face in the mirror. I made an important decision. I would shave daily and would grow a thin mustache to make look more handsome. I was after all a bachelor and a doctor. So after looking his face into the mirror, he just gave a small decision that he will just shave his beard regularly on a regular basis, means daily, and he will just grow a thin mustache so that with the help of that mustache he will look something more handsome. After all he was a bachelor, means he was just completed the degree and he was a doctor. I looked into the mirror and smiled. It was an attractive smile and another earth-shaking important decision. I would always keep an attractive smile on my face to look more handsome. I was after all a bachelor and a doctor on the top of it. Again came that noise from the above. So the above two decisions he made, but after keeping a smile on his face, he just made the third important decision that he will keep regularly he will keep a smile on his face. After all he was a doctor, he was a bachelor, and after thinking all these things, again that sound when he entered the room, that sound came from the top. I got up, paced up and down the room. Then another lovely thought struck me. I would get married to a woman doctor who had plenty of money and a good medical practice. She had to be fat for a valid reason. If I made some silly mistakes and needed to run away, she should not be able to run after me and catch me. So there was one funny event over here that he thought that as he walked above inside the room, he just have another thought in his mind that he will just marry a woman, and after all he was a doctor, so obviously he will marry a doctor woman who is having a good medical practice, who is earning little more than himself. But the condition is that he will marry a woman who is little fat, so that if the writer will make any kind of mistakes, then that lady, means the fat woman, will not be able to run so fast behind the writer and would catch him. With such thoughts in my mind, I resumed and my seat in the chair in front of the table. There was no more sounds from the above. Suddenly there came a dull thud noise, as a rubber tube had fallen on the ground. Surely nothing to worry about. So as he was just thinking about all these things, suddenly something else came into the mind. बट ही वॉज जस्ट सिटिंग ऑन द चेयर, बट एक ऐसी चीज़ ऊपर से गिरी कि उसको लगा जैसे कि कोई रबर की स्ट्रिप या रबर का जो ट्यूब है दैट हैड फॉलन फ्रॉम द टॉप ऑफ द रूफ. बट ही इज़ थिंकिंग दैट इसमें भी कोई चिंता करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. थैंक यू, एंड यू आर सपोज टू कॉपी द मीनिंग्स ऑफ दिस चैप्टर इन टू द फेयर बुक. थैंक यू.